Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back.
Oh, wow.
Got this one for today.
It's our jam.
It's happening. It is finally loose broken, and it only took us a couple months to get here. This is Run It Back. It is Tuesday morning. To my right, the always professional Stadium Insider, Shams Charania. To my left, the never professional Chandler Parsons. And Lou Will on the end. Man, the Lakers played a basketball game last night, but that score is ugly. 138-94 dropping to Philly. My goodness, Joel Embiid, 30-11, 11 assists. His first triple-double this season. Oh, I had him for a double-double. He went way above. Tyrese Maxey with 31 and 8, and LeBron had 18 points, 5 assists. He's now the all-time leader in minutes played. No rebounds. He had no rebounds for the first time since 2010. It's kind of weird. 44-point loss. It's tied for Lakers' fourth worst loss in history. And LeBron was asked about, what should change after the game. He said a lot, and then he had more to say.
How should
Last question.
How should a team react to this kind of game? Do you just totally flush it, disregard it, move on, or do you just let it stew and use it as motivation?
I don't know how a team. I can only speak for myself.
How do you?
I don't like it.
What do you think about that?
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I didn't hear the full clip before. I mean, as the leader of this team, as the guy on this team who's having an unbelievable season, you can't say that. Now you just kind of put yourself in a different category than the team. It's not good leadership. We know it's a bad loss. And a glaring loss like this, when you're blasted, it's going to be a miserable flight. It's going to be a miserable film session. But LeBron James is the leader of this team. I don't care if people say it's Anthony Davis's team now. LeBron James has been the guy. So I don't like this. You can't kind of separate yourself from the team. You can't say, oh, I don't know how the team's going to react. I know how I'm going to react. It's your job to get the team to react. So I don't love these comments, especially after a loss like this where everyone's already down, everyone's already just, pissed off. And like I said, this is a game that you can't just flush and move on to the next one. This is an embarrassing ass whooping. This is something that needs to be handled. And the best player on your team saying this, kind of making it, me, how I'm going to react and versus the team reacting, it's not a good play, in my opinion.
Yeah, like you said, man, when you get beat by 44 points, you kind of don't know what the vibe is in the locker room unless everybody's just happy-go-lucky and everybody's running around. That might have pissed them off a little bit, or it's extremely quiet in there. Everybody's going in their corner. So when they're asking him a team question and he's saying, I don't know, I take this as he's just emotional. It's a 44-point loss. This probably, in a long time, LeBron has been embarrassed like this, and he kind of lashed out a little passive-aggressively.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of his MO, though, right? I mean, we're not panicking yet. This is just one really, really ugly game.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Again, this comes back to, he is the leader. You can't go and say something like this. Like Lou said, the whole locker room, everything is negative. Everyone is down. This is when you say, I know what we got to do. We're going to get in the gym tomorrow. We're going to watch film. We're going to correct our mistakes. You don't go and put the whole team against you.
I'm playing yin to yang, though, because sometimes, Chandler, you and I both know, it's nothing positive to be said.
Yeah.
And sometimes you gotta get it straightened out.
But now saying that, you're giving us something to run with. You're making it seem like you're excluding yourself, like, oh, I know what I gotta do, but I don't know if I can get the team to do. So now if they don't respond well, it's not his fault again. But you know what I mean? It's just, as a leader, you have the good, the ugly, you take it all. And I feel like he had a chance to do that right now, and he didn't.
I mean, look, he's done this before. We've been down this road where he sort of does these passive-aggressive quotes and comments, but they're always geared towards someone else. They're geared toward the front office. Like last year when they were dreadful to begin the season and then change was made and it seemed to be a lot of comments coming from him in the first half of the season. Is that one of those moments?
Yeah, see, I'd rather him go the other way. I'd rather him be Pat Mahomes and throw a good pass and the receiver missed the pass and him say, oh, I could have put it on I could have threw a better pass. You know what I mean? Take the accountability. You're the best player on the team. You're the leader. Take all the blame. Everyone knows, especially because you are having a great year. Your numbers are through the roof.
This AD team.
Yeah, stop. You know what I mean?
It's AD's team. Why did nobody ask AD what he thought?
Yeah, well, they probably did, but he didn't say anything like this, so we're not talking about it.
No, he didn't. He had 17 and 11. I don't know whose team it is anymore. And by the way, when Patrick Mahomes did answer like that, weren't you kind of like, dude, you couldn't throw a better pass? That was perfect.
But again,
stop it.
at least he's owning it. You know what I mean? At least in that locker room tomorrow, you know how appreciative that receiver probably was. Like now, this team's kind of looking at like, damn, LeBron just threw us
Call
under
us
the
out.
bus today. Yeah, like,
They went to his museum 2 days ago. I don't think
His
they know exactly
museum?
who they're playing with.
yeah.
This is how he is, though, after, especially a dreadful loss like last night. Like, you lose by they were trailing by almost 50 points on the
crazy.
road.
50.
I mean, I don't know, as a LeBron James team, I think this is the
That's what I'm
biggest
saying.
loss ever
Yeah.
of all time for
him.
LeBron
I think
James.
I'm tripping
So,
too if I'm LeBron. I think I'm tweaking out. I know Chandler don't agree, but I might tweak a little bit too.
But it's
he's like this after, hey, if they lose by 20, he's like this. You'd say they're down
he
50?
is- You do have to give him credit. He's like the most
Shams,
in.
one day you're gonna have a museum related to all of your scoops.
Cannot wait.
And you're gonna get embarrassed, and you're probably gonna lash out because you're in uncharted territory.
I'm gonna be somewhere in Atlanta lashing out at Lou.
It's safe to say he's going to regret
A
saying that
museum.
today. You know what I mean? He's going
Is he?
to be whistling a different tune at media today, I guarantee.
I agree with that.
A museum.
I agree with that.
Museum.
We
would be
have
cool.
not talked about that enough. Third star for this Lakers team. Is that something that they're thinking about? What is the plan?
I think the Lakers will be patient. We saw what happened last year during the season. There was call for changes. Rob Pelinka in that front office, they took a more diligent approach, and they pursued Kyrie Irving at the trade deadline, but then they went the other route, got a bunch of good role players, assembled a team that was kind of similar to that 2020 championship team with high-level rotation players, and they go to the Western Conference Finals. I expect them to express interest in Zach LaVine, but he's making almost $40 million. And so to total the salaries, to reach that amount in a trade, guys like D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, they are not both trade eligible till mid-January. And so the Bulls, I'm sure, would covet Austin Reeves in any potential Zach LaVine trade, as any team would. If you're the Lakers and you're out there trying to pursue a third star, whether that's Zach LaVine, anyone else that becomes available, the player that teams will ask about is Austin Reeves, 100%. And to this point, the Lakers have not been inclined to move Austin Reeves.
Yeah.
They didn't put him in a deal for Kyrie Irving. And so I think now, if you're the Lakers, you're going to take a prudent approach. Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, two guys that are supposed to be massive for them in their rotation. They haven't played much at all this year. And so I think overall you have to take advantage. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, they're playing at such a high level. You have to take advantage of how they're playing, and that includes being proactive in the trade market.
The Austin Reeves of it all. Would you put him in a deal to get things done?
Yeah, I would, but I understand where they're coming from. Austin Reeves is that great, versatile role player that knows how to play with stars. You know what I mean? Like D'Angelo Russell, these other guys, maybe it's not as good of a fit, but yeah, like if I can go and get a Kyrie Irving, if I can get a Zach LaVine, if I can get one of these big stars, but me and Lou were just talking about, why does there have to be a big three? Why can't you just have a deep roster, build around LeBron James and Anthony Davis, have a good bench? And they are banged up. Gabe Vincent is important to them. Rui Hachimura, these guys are valuable players on this team. But is Austin Reeves the third star? First of all, I don't know why there has to be a third star, but yeah, if you can go and get an actual all-star caliber player, I'm putting Austin Reeves in it, and I love his game, and I think he is a perfect fit to play along these superstars because he knows his role. He knows his game better than the fans and the media know his game. So I think he is great.
Somebody knows his game.
Listen,
Who knew his game?
I said he would love to average 15, 5, and 5 this year.
What is he
I got
averaging?
crucified. He's averaging 14, 5, and 5. So I
so
gave him an
close.
extra
Statement
point.
aged- that statement aged very
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
The
so
fans
far.
owe Chandler apology.
Yeah, I'll slide in my DMs and apologize because I gave him an extra point, and he would love to be averaging that right now.
I like the idea that the third star, like we're so stuck on it. It's funny that you bring that up because now, Lou, we're just going to go to Philadelphia because you have Embiid, you have Maxey. We all know how well they've been playing. But the Harden saga was like, ooh, let's collect assets and we'll get that, quote, third star. Do they need a third star?
No, well, listen, we're about 20 games in almost. We're starting to settle in to kind of see who's who, right? And Philadelphia's right there in the mix of being a top 3, top 4 team in the East. I think they're going to stay pat right there. So with that said, you don't really want to shake that tree. You don't really want to create too much difference in the locker room and trying to bring in another guy. And you have one. You got Tobias Harris. He's giving them 18.5 points. You know, that's a third star to me. If he can bottle that up, be consistent, I think you're in a great spot for your basketball team. And Marcus Morris coming over from the Clippers, giving them good minutes off the bench. He's that guy off the bench that can give you that scoring punch that they said that they needed, and everybody else can focus on defense. And he can ride that wave for 5-6 minute stretches when that team needs somebody on the floor. When Joel, Maxey, Tobias, those guys are taking a break, he can be the guy that anchors them off of that bench. And so I think they're in a good spot. I say don't bother it.
That's the tough part for Philly, though, right?
Right?
Is you feel like you're on the cusp of potentially winning a championship, of advancing deep in the playoffs. Do you need another star player, or do you roll with these high-level rotation players? And I think Robert Covington, the way he's come in, making threes, playing like a great versatile role coming off the bench. Marcus Morris last night, 16 points. He was big. So you could just really take this group here. I still think they have contracts to play with, where if they want to get another good rotation player, another backup potential at two guard, maybe you can do that. But going back to the Lakers, this Jared Vanderbilt. He's a guy that could start for you. Gabe Vincent, that's your backup point guard, could start for you as point guard. And Rui Hachimura. That's 3 of basically your top 7, 8 in the rotation that are out of the lineup. So that was a bad loss for the Lakers, no question. But they're without 3 guys that are part of the rotation on a nightly basis.
And to this 3, it's a luxury to have that much talent. Like the Phoenix Suns, that is awesome for them to have all 3 of those guys, because injuries happen. The load management is still going to be a thing. But when you look at the Philadelphia 76ers, they also have Kelly Oubre, who's averaging 15, 16 points a game. That's out of the lineup right now. So I would much rather have a deep, experienced bench with Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, Kelly Oubre. These guys can combine for more points than that third star is going to get. So, you know what I mean? I like the depth. I like the versatility. I would much rather go that route, know my offense, know my game, know what Tyrese Maxey's going to give me, let Joel Embiid dominate, and then build around those 2. People are so fixated on this third star in this trio. Like, you don't need that. I'd rather have a deep bench.
Getting Oubre is going to be like a trade.
Yeah, getting Oubre, it's getting back another 15, 5, and 5. That everyone would die.
You love 15, 5, and 5. Chandler averaged 15, 5, 5 a couple years, got a max. Chandler got a max off of 15,
That'll
5,
get you
and 5.
$100 million. You average 15, 5, and 5.
Well, there's some math. I like that math. We had another game. Oh, Lou, you went to this game.
I did.
You're so social. Nuggets Clippers. They beat LA 113-104. No Jokic. Reggie Jackson, though, 35 points, 13 assists. DeAndre Jordan with 21 and 13. Kawhi had 31. Paul George, 2 of 13 from the field. He had 6 points. And remember, no Murray, no Aaron Gordon either last night. Toward the end, Russell Westbrook, though, something goes on. He gets into it with a fan. We're not 100% sure what the fan said. Westbrook said, obviously it was something personal to bother him. So I always love this conversation. When you buy a ticket to a sporting event as a fan, what does that entitle you to?
That entitles you to go to the game, enjoy the game, watch the game. Listen, friendly banter
And boo.
in the rims of what's going on the basketball court. You suck, make a shot, you can make a better pass, cool. That's part of the fan experience. I think we've gotten to a place now with social media and having so much access to people, you think you're entitled to an interaction with that person now. And so you come to the games and you might get a little personal. You might go over the lines and you feel safe. We're on the court. You're in the fans. We can't really do anything to you.
You have your friend taping you.
Phones are going to be out. It's this different dynamic of people wanting their piece of the action.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a very fine line because a lot of these people, some of the things they say, they would not say it to you
Never.
face to face, on the street, walking down the street or something like that. And so I just think these guys just get too comfortable with disrespect. And I can appreciate sometimes that it get checked.
Yeah, and I appreciate being a sports fan, booing.
Booing's fun.
Saying I suck, saying whatever, overpaid or, whatever it is. But when you buy a ticket to the game, that doesn't make you entitled to say anything personal, anything about, your wife, your mom, your kids, nothing like that. Like Lou said, if you bought an admission to a bar or a club or a concert and you saw me face to face, would you say that to me?
I mean, I would, but that's
you would because
somebody
you're
else
tough as
probably would.
nails. But like that's where it gets lost to me because
It's weird.
we'd beat you up if you said that in person. You know what I mean? So like, don't get it twisted that you could just say all these things, knowing, like Shams said, with your boy, you're trying to get clicks, you're trying to get attention, you're trying to be on social media, getting filmed. It's ridiculous. We're not circus animals. We're out there playing, doing our job, and it gets out of hand sometimes, especially in certain cities.
Did you guys ever get into it with a fan at any?
Are you kidding me?
I mean, yeah.
In Memphis, how bad did it get?
Oh, it was horrible. Everywhere I'd go, there's one kid took a picture with me, and I thought he was taking a picture of selfie at dinner, and said, "All right, say thanks for ruining our season." And I didn't.
I remember that.
It was and I'm like that. Like, are you kidding me? You love that, don't you? That was funny.
But I've seen that happen. It's
like the audacity, the nerve of these people because they feel like you can't do anything to them.
And then, by the way, if you
one.
do react, then you're arrested or you're suspended or you're
you have
losing
everything
money,
to
and then
lose.
I have everything to lose, and
Yeah.
they have nothing but attention to gain. So it's like, it's all just a slippery slope. But I wish Russ would kind of control his emotions a little bit more. It seems to happen to him more often than others, but. It's frustrating, man. As a grown-up, you have your limits.
Do you think the Lou thing, I'm looking right at you, the Russ thing is that he's now coming off the bench and maybe he's not thrilled with this way the system's going and that now this whole team has been sort of changed and now he's angry about other things?
It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
I think even the other night when Russ had a big fourth quarter against the Mavericks and they won, he was asked about it and you would think it's like, oh, yeah, we're figuring out, like, we still have a long way to go. We still need to figure out what we're going to do. Like, there isn't like this for sure sense that this team is, has it.
Right.
Clearly, after last night, they don't have everything figured out. So I think it's still, like Russell Westbrook knows, it's a trial. And I think Kevin Durant said it best with the fan. He said,
Even Klay Thompson said, you can't do what we do, so, like, why are you talking? Like, why are you talking negative about me? You know what I mean?
No, that's fair.
I feel like that's the attitude you got to have, or it's just going to get you in trouble. And, let them call you Westbrook. Like, Westbrook. Who cares?
Westbrook,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool. I'm cool with the criticism.
Yeah.
I'm cool. Like, the banter, I'm cool with it. Sometimes the fans take it a little too far, trying to get that interaction, and one day.
Some people just suck at banter, too. Like, it's not like every
It's like
fan
the Malice
is
in the
witty.
Palace. When the guys actually came on the court, I love that. Like, you're coming on the court, dude. What is your problem?
It's not going to end
What do you
well.
think is going to happen?
And we got it understood immediately.
Yeah, and look what happened. That's what would happen if you crossed the line.
Yeah, that's I don't want to see it happen either, but I would imagine it gets frustrating after a while, especially when the game is as it was, because no Jokic, no Murray, no Gordon. 10 is the loss that is the worst of all time. 1 to 10, how bad was this for the Clippers?
I mean, it was bad. And a lot of times you see let up when you see the main guys are out on the opposing team and you look, no Jokic, no Gordon, no Murray, and the spread moves from like 6 to 11.5 and everyone's taking you. And there is that kind of maturity level that you have to show to win the game. And credit to the Nuggets. They have professional guys. They have a system. It doesn't matter who's out, who's in, next guy up mentality. Reggie Jackson was unbelievable last night. He was almost looked like personal. This is the first time he's been to LA since getting moved from the Clippers. DeAndre Jordan's back where a whole Lob City was created, and he was unbelievable. It looks like he should be getting more minutes or he should be traded to be playing more somewhere because he still can hoop. So I was happy to see those two guys go into their own building and go get a win that nobody in the world thought was possible.
No, not with that many people out. Look, after the game, Ty Lue obviously was asked about it, said, quote, I thought just the energy there wasn't well enough to compete. I mean, look, Nuggets, no 3 starters. They're on the second night of a back-to-back, and I don't understand how you could have more energy than the Clippers.
The second game of a back-to-back, being that team, you're actually more dangerous because you've had a night to get your rhythm. You just played. You're going to wake up, you're going to have a breakfast meeting, and then you're going to go play again. So you're basically going right back onto the court within 12 hours of that game. And so, despite what the public think, if I'm on the second game of a back-to-back and I'm that team, I feel really, really good about playing in that basketball game. But look, the gig is up. I think the Nuggets have exposed themselves as a plug-and-play team. They have a system. They have ways that they want to play. They have things that they value as a basketball team, and they're plugging in guys, and you're seeing good results from it. And so, I wouldn't give this to being the second game of a back-to-back. Nuggets are the real deal, and they got a lot of guys that can play.
Professionals. Which team had the worst loss? Lakers or Clippers?
Lakers for sure.
Easily.
I don't think
yeah,
so.
Okay.
I think the Clippers, the Philadelphia's a better team than the Lakers. I think they're fully loaded. They're missing a couple role players. Clippers this is who they are. This is a major concern that they had this kind of letdown, fully loaded, at home, on the second night of a back-to-back. This is inexcusable to me. Obviously, the 44-point loss.
I mean, it's just math.
They got blasted, but
they took that team in the training camp.
76ers are good. Like 76ers, I feel like I would take them against the Lakers any day of the week. Anyway, not by 44, but
no, 44 would have been a weird one to see.
But again, we're talking about Reggie Jackson. We're very familiar with who Reggie Jackson is. We're very familiar with DeAndre Jordan and who he is. And we mentioned the last show, we wanted to see more productivity from some of the young guys on Denver. The young guy, Braun, and the other young guy, I can't think of his name. So
Braun, Payne Watson.
Watson.
Strawther hit some shots last night.
Those guys play well. So, and I'm a career bench guy, so I like to see the underdogs have a night
Underdog go.
Yeah, everybody can sit down, and I can hold the fort down tonight. And so I can appreciate that, seeing the game that Reggie Jackson had. Listen, they didn't go into training camp with that team. The Clippers didn't.
No.
And so they're still trying to figure out lineups, still trying to find their chemistry and what works. Denver is a well-oiled machine, and they got guys that they can plug in and keep the boat going when your top guys are going. And so Lakers losing by 44 and your best 2 players played.
It's ugly.
I mean, they're both not great. I think that's a safe bet to say. The Reggie Jackson part, though, man, that's kind of fun. How valuable is he to this team?
I mean, he played 6 games in the playoffs last year on the run to the finals. Like, there were moments where he was getting DNPs, but he was a great teammate on that bench. And last year when he got a buyout from the Hornets, the Bucks were interested in him. He had a bunch of teams, and he ends up going to the Nuggets, plays sparingly in the playoffs, and now, look, he's finally getting an opportunity to play. He started 11, 12 games this year, obviously, with Jamal Murray being out. He's played in pretty much all their games. He's averaging almost 13 points, 5 assists this year. Talk about a rejuvenated season for Reggie Jackson. This is a guy that had his picking of which team to go to. He picks Denver. He picks Nikola Jokic, and now finally we're starting to see the rewards. Calvin Booth has been high on Reggie Jackson. He's finally playing and getting time.
Also, you know how comforting this is for the Nuggets to now not feel a need to rush back Jamal Murray when you got this dude getting hot like that?
It's the ultimate luxury.
It's huge.
To know that you don't have to do all that. Another game last night was Pelicans Jazz. It's a weird ending on this one, Chandler, so we're going to turn to you to take us through this.
Yeah, this was an interesting game. Obviously, no Lauri Markkanen for Utah. We're starting to see the teams. It's impossible to predict this NBA season. One guy's out, the next guy steps up.
Pelicans have won crazy games as well.
Exactly. They go on the road. They beat really good teams. But this end of the play here, listen, you could nitpick this all you want. If Brandon Ingram hits that shot, we're sitting here today praising him. He's aggressive. He's the closer. Hindsight, looking back, he could have kicked it to Najee Marshall there for the wide open 3 for the go-ahead. But, I mean, Zion Williams gets the hoop. He draws the defense there. Again, I think that's a good look for Brandon Ingram. That's what he does. He gets to his mid-range, slow motion. The next day, looking back, could he have kicked it? Sure, but they had multiple chances. They got 3 shots basically at the rim.
Yeah, they did.
They can't ask for a much better possession than this. A little sloppy, but they had their chances, and credit to the Jazz. Again, their best player out. Who's the next man? Who's going to step up? And they had guys that did that.
If we could do it all over again, Lou, perfect. Who takes what in that final second?
I mean, everybody got a shot.
All right, fair enough.
Everybody
Should Zion have done it first?
He tried.
Get it to him? He tried. But
He attacked the rim. They closed in on him. He kicked it out to the second best player on that team or the first best player, however they want to chop it up. He gets a shot, then they get another opportunity and another opportunity. So, again, sports in general is just fickle. If one of those guys make a shot, the narrative is completely different today. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, they got 3 shots at the rim under 8 seconds. That should be alarming for the Utah Jazz that they allowed them to get 3 shots in 8 seconds to win a basketball game. Just didn't go their way.
Think about that defense. They let Zion get middle. They collapsed. He then got they overclosed out on Ingram, and then they had a wide open guy on a swing. So like Lou said, kind of horrible defense from Utah. They just got bailed out by 3 misses.
3 misses. They got a little bit lucky. Zion, I almost feel happy that we haven't focused too much because I feel like we got ahead of ourselves last year. But the last 5 games for him, he's averaging 27. The outlook for Zion right now in New Orleans is what?
Well, what makes Zion Williamson so special, he really believes right now that he's a point guard. And he believes he's the point guard of this team, and he's a playmaker. He wants the ball in his hands. He embraces it. When you look at his stats with and without Zion, with and without C.J. McCollum, he's averaging 24 points, almost 6 assists. He's doing it playmaking. He's doing it scoring when he has the ball in his hands. And he started the year setting screens. He started the year in the mid-post, in the high post. He played a lot off the ball. And now they've put the ball in his hands. He's able to make plays. And we're finally seeing, I think, a complete Zion Williamson. We're seeing him be as cohesive as he's ever been with Brandon Ingram. But again, will this stick? Will they both stay healthy? Will Zion Williamson stay healthy? But the remainder of the season, to me, is going to be about the growth in his game and his development with B.I. But listen, last year he was playing a lot of point guard as well. And then remember, up the floor in Philly he has that hamstring pull, and then we don't see him again in January. So the hope is in New Orleans that he stays healthy. Because if he can stay healthy, I think this team can be dangerous.
Yeah, and you can hear just the tone in his voice when he's talking. He's frustrated, right? But they're banged up. And this is a team last year that got off to a hot start, like some of the teams we see this year. We're talking Willie Green, Coach of the Year. We're talking Zion, Brandon Ingram, C.J. McCollum. Now, barring some injuries to Alvarado, to Murphy, they have the talent on this team. So I think there is light at the end of the tunnel here. They just got to weather this storm until they get fully healthy.
How is C.J. McCollum? I know it's, November 6th?
Yeah, November 4th, collapse.
Yeah.
A small collapse in his lung. And from what I'm told, C.J. McCollum, the Pelicans, they're aiming for his return as soon as Wednesday, tomorrow. against the Sixers at home, or Friday against your Spurs. But
That's a dub.
Collapse lung just sounds like a long
Just-
time problem for me.
Collapse lung? Yeah.
that's pretty
second
serious.
time.
2 weeks ago?
This is the second time for CJ McCollum in the last 3 years.
The collapse
Where-
lung?
Collapse
yeah,
lung?
Yeah.
Yikes.
And so, thankfully, he's been able to make it back. But he's been out since November 4. The hope is, unless there's a setback, he's going to be back this week, Wednesday or Friday. And before he got hurt in the 6th game, 22 points a game, 6 assists. They need his shooting. But I'm curious, how much will he play on the ball versus off the ball? We saw him off the ball a lot with Dame Lillard in Portland. I think he's going to play a lot off the ball with Zion Williamson.
Jordan Poole, guys. That's all I really need to say, because you're like, wow, why are we talking about Jordan Poole? Just this one moment is what we're going to talk about. It's the experience that is JP. I don't even, what is happening?
You've done this before.
I did something similar.
What?
Here's the thing.
What's
This
he
is
do?
just
I would've shot
Jordan.
it.
This is Jordan Poole in a nutshell, right? He's young, he's immature, and he's arrogant. That is all
That's
three of those
three.
things. Is this play, and that's why he's had some personality issues.
What's
the kid
even
can
happening?
hoop. Listen, he's
You gotta
getting
admit.
he's getting ripped right now. The kid can hoop. He belongs in the NBA. But this is the stuff he does that annoys a coaching staff, that annoys his teammates.
Oh, can you
and
imagine?
This is the frustrating stuff.
You gotta admit, Doug, it is a pretty funny clip.
Oh, it's hilarious.
What's he doing?
It's funny that there's a whole Jordan Poole experience now, because
It is.
every game he's given us something like this.
What do you
where
think's
we're just
going on
scratch-
through his mind? Like right now, he's thinking what?
I think he's
that
thinking.
ball should be shot, but he's probably thinking maybe I can get a layup out of this, and the kid made a good defensive play. That's what I'm gonna hang my hat on.
I
this
think he's
particular.
no. I think he's being silly, and this is who he
I'm
is.
gonna give him the benefit of the doubt for this particular clip.
This one moment.
It's a great move too. He had a bucket. Why would he do
I
that?
don't know.
Yeah. Again, this is what causes him trouble. That's an easy. And like if I'm his temmate, if I'm the
Yes.
coach, you know they're
This
just
is a
playing it
problem.
over.
Yeah.
This is obnoxious.
Yeah.
Like this is.
You're just
this-
wasting
you're
everyone's
playing
time.
with you're playing with your food.
Yeah, I don't get it. It would annoy me if I was a teammate just standing there waiting for something to happen, and that's what the end was. Nope, no thank you. We're taking a quick break right now. Guess who's back? Vince Carter, when we come back, joins the show.
Run it up, run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, yeah, yeah. Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up.
We're legendary.
Carter, I don't believe what I just saw.
We're legendary.
Are you kidding me? Half man, half amazing.
We're legendary.
Oh, that's right. 8-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA. Played for 22 years. I just love getting that in there every time. Vince Carter joins the show this morning. Vince, look, we started the show talking a little bit about the Lakers' loss last night. Wasn't pretty. And then, of course, LeBron had some comments afterwards. The guys weren't super thrilled with him. It was a little bit of the throwing the rest of the team under the bus. I don't know if you heard him, but the gist was he knows how he'll react. He doesn't know about everybody else. What did you think?
That's LeBron. Yeah, he may annoy and everybody might not be happy with his comments, but we've seen him do this before. It's just in his mind, he's motivating. I'm challenging you publicly, which all the time. I'm not going to say that's the right way to go. You have to kind of know your locker room, but at the same time, LeBron doesn't care. He's like, I'm going to be ready to play. You either follow my lead or you get left behind type thing. And after LeBron knows how to bounce back after an embarrassing loss. He's going to come out aggressive. He's going to come to play. And he's going to expect that from everybody else. If not, there again, go sit on the bench and watch what I do.
Yes, he's the one that seems the most amped. Draymond Green, the big return of Draymond Green tonight. He missed, of course, the 5 games due to the suspension. He was asked about it, said he has no regrets, never does. His behavior, would you say that at this point it's a little detrimental to what the Warriors are trying to do?
I'm going to start out by saying that's a wild boy. He's a wild boy. And I get the fact he's like, I'm going to protect my teammate at all costs. Okay, cool. But at some point, you got my man in the Larry, it was almost night time.
He was tapping out. He was tapping
Listen, if
out.
you really watch
he
that
had
clip,
the hands up
it has nothing to do with his teammate.
No, nothing.
Has nothing to do
It had nothing to do with his teammate.
His teammate was fine.
He got pushed,
Lou,
and he went to go get his lick back.
He saw an opportunity. He's like, oh, it now, right now. This is my chance. Come here, boy. Yeah, what you said now?
Come here, boy.
Oh, okay.
So long. So long. It was awkwardly long, actually. Like,
Yeah.
I always wonder, I mean, look, there are guys on there that are never going to say anything, but then there are guys of equal stature, if not greater, like a Steph, for example.
Or the coach.
Yeah, or the coach. Like, what, do
The
you
coach said it
say
was too long.
something? Does anyone say anything to him? Like, how does it work in a locker room with a guy like Draymond?
I think, you know, they have respect, the respect of each other, where a Steph, I mean, obviously Steve Kerr said it publicly, like it was entirely too long. You know, we don't need this. Like he has to find a way to dial it back. So I think they can have that conversation with him, and he trusts and he will allow those guys to do that. Now, if that was like a Jordan Poole, like nah,
No.
not so much.
By the way,
But they won championships.
As a teammate, you love it, right? Like you love that he's getting your back. But to an extent now, and then missing games, becoming a
5 games,
distraction,
yeah.
then it's a problem.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah.
5
They're
games.
now like 8 and 9 and 10th in the West. Like, you know, they're very capable. They're known to having slow starts where they can click it on. But it's like you kind of got to deal with the media now. You got to find your way again, which they can do. I know that. But like you got to find your consistency, because I feel like if they're going to do it again, this is going to be the toughest year. I feel like every year from here on out, we're going to say this is the toughest year. Like last year, like, yeah, right. Like this is going to be the toughest year.
VC, last week, Chris Paul ejected by Scott Foster. CP3 after the game says it was personal. So what was your take overall in that situation?
I mean, at some point, I mean, I look at the history of it and like, come on, man. Like, we know it's personal. I feel like every time you see that together, you expect a Chris Paul loss.
Yeah.
But, you know, the one thing that, you know, I've had a situation with the referee.
Who was it?
I don't
Go
remember.
on.
In,
What did it
in
rhyme with?
Detroit.
Donahue? Was his last name Donahue?
No. We had some spats. I mean, I've had some with Joey Crawford, but that's not the one. But nevertheless, it wasn't Joey Crawford, but it was a back and forth. And, you know, I'm like, all right, if you're going to say what you're going to say under your breath where nobody can hear you, the referee, I have the right to rebut. And you can't use that against me. So, you can tell that definitely was a part of that. Plus, they had history, and, you know, from what Chris Paul said, it has something to do with his kids. So,
I agree with VC. Like, if you're a referee and you're going to engage me and we're going to go back and forth, you can't use the power of your whistle when it doesn't go your way.
Once you feel like you're losing,
when you feel like you're losing that argument, don't use your whistle as your way out of this and getting me out of there. Some referees, you give them credit. If we're going back and forth and no T's called and we continue to play it, I'll earn respect for that referee. But if we're talking trash to each other and I get a one-up on you and you decide to throw me out, I can't respect
That's
that.
why I love like a Tony Brothers or a Zach Zarba. They'll talk shit back to you.
Talk all day long. And that's who I was going to use as an example.
Yeah.
He'll talk junk. You go back and forth, and then he'll say that's enough, and you know, like that's enough, and he'll walk away. You know, as a veteran official. And then obviously, if you come back and you continue that conversation, then you know it kind of goes whatever.
And you know, there's like scouting reports too for refs. Like you know who you can mess with, who you're supposed to joke around with. Like
you don't mess with Joey Crawford.
Joey Crawford teamed me up one time.
Steve Javie.
He teamed me up one time, Vince, for looking at him.
Well, the Tim Duncan of it all, when he's smiling.
Right, and they lean into
y'all
it.
remember Steve Javie threw out the mascot.
Yeah.
The Spurs.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you just knew who not to mess with.
It's
like,
ridiculous.
You know, but Dick Bavetta was another guy that you can have your argument. He lets you say what you want to say, and he'll back off. He's like, that's enough. I'm giving you a chance.
Yeah.
So.
And Scott Foster, he leans into it. Like, he knows he's a villain, and he kind of carries himself like that when he's refereeing basketball games. It's unfortunate that it's gotten to that point with Chris Paul, but I promise it's another 40, 50 guys that has the same issue with Scott Foster.
That's a big number there.
For sure.
For sure.
Vince, last week we saw the Spurs-Clippers game. Pop literally, he literally grabbed the mic like it was Lake Howell versus Oviedo and told the crowd to stop booing. Have you ever seen that in your career?
No.
In the NBA, maybe.
If I'm Kawhi, you kind of appreciate it. I mean, you forgot. I went back to Toronto, and I got booed. So if there was a coach, if Sam Mitchell or any coach thereafter, like, hey man, but it's a part of the game. It's I think they have a lot of respect for him. It's kind of the thing you do. So and you see what the fans like. Everybody respects Pop, but at the same time, they're like, Pop, you tripping.
Yeah.
boo, and they kept booing.
Yeah,
So
louder.
it's like it did. I get what he's trying to do, but I also understand. After hearing what Pop says, he's like, we don't want to poke the bear because he knows what superstar players can do. You don't want to motivate them and give them ammunition because they're a young team and they weren't going to probably win that game anyway.
No.
But at the same time,
Oh, he said that? That's a great spin
The bear
job.
was poked.
Oh,
He said that at the end. He's like, you don't poke the bear. And they're like, what do you mean? I mean, I said it. You don't poke the bear. If you don't know what that means, I mean, I understand what he's saying. We're not trying to give him more motivation because if you're going back to San Antonio and they're booing, just like for me, I was going back to Toronto and they're booing. That was more motivation for me to kind of get busy. And I definitely want to win. I already wanted to win. But now, like, you booing me, calling me this, that,
That's a spin job. That's a great spin.
You like that?
Well played.
Yeah, well played.
thinking, man.
He probably had all halftime to think of that one. Real play.
Man, it was a moment I'll never forget, that's for sure. Sunday, we had a Marcus Smart yell. I love a Marcus Smart yell, but at his teammates during a timeout, yelling that what they were doing was embarrassing. Are you on board with the delivery of the message?
Everybody delivers a different way. Me being a veteran with a young team for a lot of years, Marcus Smart has been to the NBA Finals. He understands how tough and how hard it is to get there. And I know he sees the potential in the Grizzlies, who's been very close. So he's not letting this team slip and get away with anything. So yes, I mean, you can look at it as harsh, but a teammate, we all had teammates who just. They get amped when they talk. Like, that's what it is. And you take it with a grain of salt. So today's NBA, some people, fans or media and players can't handle that. But it's like, I know it's coming from a pure place. Like, he wants to win. We know Marcus Smart is all about winning. It's nothing personal.
Yeah. VC, I got to ask, despite
y'all just gonna let me say it, not gonna rebuttal? Just leave me
No,
out there
we
with
thought you
that? Y'all
nailed
agree?
it, honestly. It was a chef's kiss.
Absolutely.
I got nothing.
You covered all the bases, bro. I gotta ask, despite the courts, I was critical of the in-season tournament. I wasn't a big fan of the
courts are trash.
But listen, now that we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, I'm enjoying the games. I'm enjoying the excitement around it. What do you think about the tournament?
Well, you can see the strategy behind this, and you see teams are making sure that guys are ready to go for the in-season tournament more so than the regular game. So they know Tuesday and Friday. So I have Wednesday and Thursday to get guys healthy or back or be ready to play the big minutes, because it does mean something. And regardless of, we say guys are making. I'm enjoying hearing superstar players who are making 30 million or more saying that this matters. This is a chance to win something, but they want to do it for their other guys who don't get the chance to make a quick. That's a quick 500.
Right. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to ask you. Would you give max effort for the in-season tournament? Is that $500K an incentive to you if you were a player?
Absolutely. I mean, because and a lot of guys are playing for a lot of things. So throughout the season, obviously you're winning something. When you win championships, this opens up doors for other opportunities later on, other contracts and so on and so forth. But yeah, I'm all for going at it, and I definitely would. It's another opportunity to win. If you don't get the opportunity, and I think, Lou, you said this earlier, some of these teams the Magic or the Pacers who are playing great basketball, they get a chance to win this tournament, but maybe not have a chance in the world, to win the NBA Finals. But you're winning something, and you walk away with something, and now you're putting people on notice. Now you win an in-season tournament. You know what that does for you for free agency? Mm-hmm. It opens doors, and now you're starting to get guys in.
Some of these guys too, they're making $1-2 million. That's a huge chunk of money for them to get for not playing bonus. Too.
That's a chunk of money for anybody.
Anyway,
we would all take it.
That's your summer money, man. Just think, if you win the in-season tournament, you get $500,000, and you don't make the playoffs. But guess what?
That's what I don't think my 500 makes it out of Vegas. My 5 don't make it out of Vegas, VC.
Is this going to be like a playoff share where you can give it to the staff or give it to will we see that?
No, staff gets them too, though.
This is in season.
I know. Will we see Steph Curry give his $500,000 to one of the young guys?
They could.
This is
no chance.
This is an in-season tournament.
I think so.
They're getting paid first and 15th.
Maybe not $500,000.
Maybe
not $500,000.
A nicer Christmas gift.
A bonus.
I mean, still,
I
you,
like
you
that,
give him
Chandler.
10, you give him 10, 20 like you would do for a playoff
Like a
bonus.
playoffs. Yeah.
Exactly, like you.
I like it.
I'm not giving you all
I think
500.
the
hell no.
the high players, I
500,
almost
bro.
they got to do that.
That's I didn't think
Hey,
about that.
Lou, I'm going to say this about some of the courts. I heard you a couple of days ago say about the courts. Some of the courts are hideous, but I like it
I like the
differentiates
difference. I like the
It
separation.
differentiates, correct. Like, if you don't know the schedule, like, we obviously know the schedule, but if you don't know the schedule, you turn it on, like, what's up with the court?
Yep.
It's the in-season tournament. You're probably going to see some pretty good basketball, and you're probably going to see your favorite player play.
Yeah.
So it differentiates. I mean, I think go back and just kind of work on a few of the courts.
It's
but
the
I like
red. The all red is
Yeah, I
angering.
know, I know,
It's
I know you don't
triggering, I
like
think.
I'm changing my position. I'm in.
Oh,
You're so open-minded
No.
these days. Who are you?
Listen, once you get to know me, you know I'm an open-minded guy. I live freely.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm enjoying the in-season tournament. So I was very critical of it because I thought it was gimmicky, and a lot of my feeling about it was because of the courts.
Yeah.
If they listen, calm the courts down a little bit. We get it. Leave the trophy in the middle or something. Maybe do something like that. Let's calm the colors down. It's hard to watch. It's hard to look at. But the fans are in.
it's just
couple
one.
of the courts have too much pop.
Oh,
Yeah,
just
it's
one.
a little-
It's,
and I love colorful.
it's one big hallucination when you're watching these courts. It is.
Well, the red ones, yeah. That Toronto court was
Red
tough.
on
though.
red stuff.
I'm sorry,
Red.
that Toronto Raptors court was tough.
Bulls is tough. I think Bulls and, those are,
Anything with Carolina Blue is tough, too.
Okay, there you go. That's fair. That is fair.
BC, you're in Orlando, right? Your team's won 7 games in a row.
Oof.
They're second best in the East, third best in the NBA overall, one of the best teams in the league so far. Have you caught Orlando Magic fever, I should say? I guess fear.
I mean, yeah, I
Fear
definitely
probably
work
works.
with
Yeah.
them. I do some work with them, so I definitely watch them and support them. But the power ranking, they're still 7. I don't understand. You got to explain that one to me. But they're playing great basketball, and and I'm gonna speak from my experience first. When I got the opportunity to play in the Olympics, and came back the next year, the confidence that I had, as a player, I think we're seeing that from Paulo. Like, he got the opportunity to play, in the Olympic trials with some great players, seeing how they prepare themselves, how they work on the game, how they make other players, whether they're superstars player or not, better. And you're seeing that from him. He's averaging 19.8, but also Franz is averaging like 19. He's getting it done. He's playing with a lot of confidence. He's getting off the ball when he needs to, and he understands when it's my time, it's going to be my time. But he's allowing another great scorer like Franz to flourish, as well as everyone else. I think another one, Cole Anthony. Buying into his 6-man role has been huge for his game and the team, because he wanted to be a starter. He kind of lost his spot. He would pout a little bit. Then all of a sudden, you see him buy in, and he's really taking off because he understands he's the guy in that second unit.
Shout out Jamal Mosley too, because he's one of the.
Absolutely, man.
There's not
He's
many
killing
more
it,
coaches
man.
cooler than him.
Right.
Shout out.
And, I mean, he's done a great job with a young bunch of guys with a lot, doesn't have a lot of experience. Coach of the year, he should be up. He should be in the talks for it.
I also love that Orlando's crushing because it gives us an excuse to bring out some vintage video, which is obviously one of my favorite things to do. When you were there, you guys, Dwight Howard, you had a pregame ritual.
Oh man,
I mean, what
the Magic Show.
Yeah, the Magic
We called
Show.
it the Magic Show. Yes, it was. It got out of control for a while.
Vince, that'd have been me.
Yeah, hey man, look. So it started like we literally had a show where we had a presentation. And it literally, we had, this is where it started right here. Jason Williams was kind of our dictator, believe it or not, white chocolate. It got to the point to where we're in the layup line. Jay Will would be in the tunnel from somewhere doing hook shots it was out of control.
Oh my goodness.
It was out of control after a while. But we were a very good team. And once Stan Van Gundy got wind of it, he kind of like, hey, tone it down or I'm shutting it down type thing. Because Stan just cares about, obviously, X's and O's and what you do on the court. But we were winning, and we were getting the job done. And when the ball was up for play, we were locked in. So, but yeah, that was the Magic Show.
I love that.
I love that team growing up there, VC. We both played with Trae Young in Atlanta. You a little bit longer than I did. He's a little bit of a lightning rod amongst fans. Do you think you can build a championship team around Trae Young?
I think I'm thinking now Trae Young as before. At first I'm like, hey man, you got to tone it back. But I understand what Trae was trying to accomplish as a young guy coming in, proving, he's too small, he's not able to, he won't last long. And the man got talent, man. Like, he's averaging 10 assists, second in the league behind that man, Halliburton, who is balling, by the way. I know we'll talk about him, but I think you're starting to see Trey understand he has to get other guys involved. He's not there yet, but at the same time, he's toned down the crazy shots, the bad shots. I think he's, Lou, you can speak to this as well, but I think he's given a little more effort on the defensive end. It's a little more important to him. It kind of matters. I mean, you have times, I watch the Hawks as well. Sometimes I'm like, come on, Trey. Look, just a little effort just to give your bigs a chance to, get in defensive position to help you and whatnot. But, Lou, what have you seen?
I just feel
think
like for Trey,
he's taking baby steps.
Right. I feel like for him, stability is going to be important, man. He's on his fourth coach in his young career, and so I've spoke to it. He has some trust issues when it comes to coaching because he hadn't had anybody to really take him under their wing and really give him the game and give him the guidance that's needed for him to get from point A to point B in his career. And so that's been my whole thing, just that stability that he hasn't had yet.
And I think that's why he's doing a little better with this year because he had coached last year. Now he has a whole summer, and then this season, kind of the focal point, they can get together and kind of get on the same page. So hopefully, this lasts for a good little while, and he continues to buy in.
For sure.
All right, last time we talked, the Clippers had just traded for James Harden, but we hadn't seen him yet in uniform. They're now 4-7 since he joined the team, but 4-2 since Russ went to the bench, and then we had the loss last night. So right now, your assessment of this Los Angeles team is what?
I'm gonna start off by saying this. Shout out to Russ, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's big of him because we know how Russ is. Like, Russ wasn't going to teams, or Russ was like, I'm not going to the bench. Like, he put his pride to the side for the good of the team. Giving Harden an opportunity to kind of play himself into shape, and I think that's what it is. It's a lot to me as a point guard. You have a lot of a scoring point guard at that. You can score, but you also have two dogs shoot, or more than that. But you have Kawhi, you have PG, so you got to make sure you get those guys involved and figure out how to get your shots and how to get Big Zoo, involved, and how to make, obviously at the time, make it work with Russ. In that. With the four of them plus Zoo. So shout out, when I heard that, I was like, good for him. And I think it's freed up Russ's mind because he doesn't have to keep hearing it from the media or people talking about it. It's like, you know what? My man needs to get right. I'm going to find a way to get right. And it's worked out, and you're starting to see them turn the corner a little bit.
Team Russ. Worst loss last night. Lakers, Clippers.
Lakers.
Boom. See, that's okay.
I just think, like, you're talking about first of all, you have LeBron James there, and you have a guy who's going to come to play every day. I just think opportunities like this matters for someone like Anthony Davis more so than LeBron. Like, you're talking about the next man up. This is this is your opportunity. This is your team. You're talking about you want to take the step. You want the keys. Eventually, you have to rise to this occasion. I mean, Joel Embiid is playing at an MVP level and this year already. So, that's a tough matchup. Not saying that it's a tough loss. It's a bad loss. I think Philly took the fight away from him.
Yeah.
Period.
Crushed him.
Triple double in 3 quarters.
God, I know.
So you said he was going to get a double-double.
Yeah, I underestimated him.
I didn't think about that matchup though. That's your position. You got to stand. You got to hold your ground. That's your position.
I feel like a meme right now. I'm like, okay. Vince, as always, we will talk soon. We appreciate you.
Pleasure.
Thanks for the time, and we will be back with Prop Party. I don't even know how we did last night. Probably we won.
Some
right?
better than others.
Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back.
Well, tonight is the final night of group play and the in-season tournament, so we're going to concentrate on Warriors-Kings for our prop party. Chandler, what do you have?
I love the Warriors tonight. We got Draymond Green back in the lineup. Me and Lou just think we think we get a vintage Warriors team tonight. We got them +1. Wiggins, you're 6'8". Give me 5 rebounds, for the love of God. I got him going over 4.5 rebounds.
Yeah, that seems like doable, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have Warriors +1, but Lou, you have Warriors what?
Yeah, I got a big night from the Warriors. I think it's going to be an emotional game. I think they're motivated. They're ready to play. Draymond is back in the lineup. So I like Steph Curry with a big night, 29 and a half. Big night, about a 30. I'm putting a number on it. I'm 34 tonight from Steph.
Oh, you're
That pays double, by the way.
With a win, with a dub.
I don't like his odds on his, though, as much.
Stop.
Okay, let's do mine. I went negative on mine a little bit. I mean, it depends on how you look at it. But Sabonis with the under 13.5 rebounds. Oh, I don't like my odds either. Klay Thomas under 3.5 threes made. But you know what? I say that to say I hope I'm wrong. Because when I watch now, I want Klay. I want to see old Klay.
Yeah.
And I tune in for
I would love to see
that.
a big night from Klay.
Same.
It'll just make my
Give me like
spirit
10,
feel
11,
good.
12, 3.
I would love
Yeah,
that.
I just want to see a big night from Klay. It's been a while.
I'm just trying to reverse psychology, the whole thing. I feel like Shams is judging us.
I think we're due. I think we're due for a big Klay Thompson.
Shams, give us a pick tonight.
What do you think I'll have for dinner?
Warriors
Shams?
or Kings?
Sushi or something else?
I feel some sushi in
Okay,
your
yep,
future.
there you go. Shams got it right. That's what's gonna happen.
That's what I'm good at. I'll predict your dinner, Michelle.
He's a
People get
mind
it.
reader. That's the trick. That's
gets it.
the
He
trick
gets
this
it.
whole time.
All right, we had Vince today. We have Jeff Teague on tomorrow, you guys. So the homework tonight is come up with some really hard questions for him to answer. I want stories.
Yeah, well, he's going to have
We got good stories. We'll get it.
Okay, then I can't wait for that. That's gonna do it for us. Enjoy the games tonight.
Sushi night.
See y'all tomorrow.
Run it up, then run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up.